are Thunderuncle, and this first song is called Vegan Zombie.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us for another edition of The Review. I'm Steve, filling in for a vacationing Kevin McGee. What you just saw and heard was the mighty Thunderuncle performing Vegan Zombie right here at Zaphod's a few weeks back. And right now a couple of them are here with me. I've got Larry Russell and John Kiley. Thanks so much for coming and doing this, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. So I thought we'd start by talking about that song. I think it's safe to say that nobody would accuse you guys of being overly serious, but that song in particular seems especially humorous. Maybe we just talk about where that song came from, what it's all about.
I think that was all John.
Yeah, that was all me. I think I wrote it. Well, it's been a while now, but I'm very big into zombie novels, etc. So I just, the different types of zombies, the fast zombies, the slow zombies, the loud zombies, and I was just thinking, how harsh it would be and how hard it would be to be a zombie who was actually a vegan, and trying to source out your sustenance would be very difficult.
Right.
So that was the mindset I had going in, which is really rare for me. I generally write lyrics. Lyrics to me are not overly important.
Sure.
I like words that fit together and the sounds of them, but I don't spend a whole lot of time on them. You can tell with most songs. But that one, I just, I thought it sort of had a story that was pretty easy to tell. So.
Sure. And you seem to be making something of an editorial statement, too, about those skinny jeans that the kids are wearing.
Yeah, just because I can't wear them myself.
That might just be jealousy on our part.
Sure, fair enough. Now, we were talking a little bit before that show, too, and it sounded like, John, you conceived this band as something quite different than what it became. It sounded like generally there's kind of a conflict of influences going on. How did it all wind up working out? Like you guys were obviously simpatico, in the end, but...
Yeah, well, Larry and I had been playing for the previous 5 years, I believe, 5 or 6 years in Hershey together.
Right.
So in Hershey, we were the rhythm section. I played drums. Larry played bass. So we were, used to sort of one another's dynamic and likes and et cetera. I think we both have pretty broad taste in music. But you're totally right. I mean, when I decided, and that band formed after Hershey broke up, and I wanted to do something different, and it was, I think, at least my second attempt at trying to form a power pop band. And what I've been learning over the time is I don't think I know what power pop really is, because so I had in my head what it was going to sound like, sort of heavily Cheap Trick, Posies influence kind of stuff. But then I started writing songs, and I realized I don't really write songs like that. I can't really sing in that manner. And then the people who, I didn't have in mind really who was going to join the band, people just offered up and said, hey, I'd like to give it a shot. So obviously, and we're all great musicians who wanted to do it, which was awesome for me. And the music sort of just went where it felt like it was supposed to go.
Right. I've always felt in some ways the bands are a lot more interesting when they kind of don't seem too worried about genre, and I would think that it seems like that's kind of where you guys have gotten to. You just kind of meet in the middle somewhere and become Thunderuncle, whatever that is. It's a lot of different things.
That's true for sure. I think all four of us now and 5 of us before have pretty diverse musical tastes and are pretty open to ideas. And I mean, people come with parts of songs, and John is the lyricist, as we've discussed. But we're all pretty open to suggestions, and we, are willing to try anything. And then in the end, you end up with something that everybody's comfortable with, and you go from there, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, I think
we all get along too, which
Yeah.
is important.
Yeah.
Huge. I think if none of us had any sort of roots in hard rock or like metal, it would have been hard for us. But I think we all sort of had some background in that, whether or not it's what we're doing now. Or I mean, I was a metalhead growing up, and I'd sort of gotten away from it, but always sort of appreciated the aesthetic. And so, and even in the existence of the band, we've kind of gone from being something maybe a little more heavy, a little more aggressive, to sort of moving over into the more hard rock sort of vein of things. And that's, I think largely Joe's influence and where he's taking us, and just, Larry and Dave being able to play pretty much any style at all. So.
Right. And no Matthew Sweet covers. Those are...
We tried.
Verboten.
So I was going to play 40 Miles next. So maybe you guys can kind of set that up. What's that all about?
Well, I guess the song, what I had wanted originally in that song was to have something that had numbers in it. For obviously it has numbers. The opening of every line is 40 something.
Right.
And I don't know where it came from. I think it might have been. But there's no lyrics for most of our songs until they're probably played 2 or 3 times. I just and then literally, now that we're thinking of recording and sort of starting, it's making me actually pen them, and they have to stay the same. Because tracking, the little recordings we've done where we're tracking vocals and we're doing like a double track on vocals, the fact that I've never really ever sang the same thing twice is making double tracking very difficult.
A great example, too, of the band sort of drifting from where we were a few years ago, maybe in the heavier and almost metal sort of genre. Now
Yeah.
it's obviously a blues riff over and over and over. It's a blues based. I mean, it's still a hard rock song, but it's definitely based in blues instead of maybe where we were a few years ago.
Well, that's where it all comes from, right? That's
Of course.
Those are the origins.
Yeah.